Michigan. And we convene inside the University of Illinois Chicago Pavilion for the 2007 AIBA World Boxing Championships. The semifinals are at hand. 44 boxers remain. They've qualified for the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. Now they will stand face to face, toe to toe, and take their best shots and try to become world champions. Mike Adamle alongside Dave Bontempo, and we waste no time whatsoever. We go immediately to the semifinals. From China, Yang Li, and his opponent wearing red from the Ukraine, Vasyl Lomachenko. Well, it's a Friday afternoon here in Chicago, Illinois. People still at work tonight. We expect a huge crowd here at the University of Illinois Chicago Pavilion. Vasyl Lomachenko of Ukraine in red, and Yang Li from China in blue. We're underway, round number one, the first of 4 two-minute rounds here in amateur boxing, the World Championships.
And we've got the lefty-righty matchup. So for Yang Li in the blue, his job is to try and throw the right-hand lead right down the middle against the lefty. It takes the place of the jab because you're operating from a different side. You need that lead right hand, double left hook. Nothing wrong with body shots, even though they don't get credit easily on the score cards of the judges and with the buzzers. It's still a good investment to make, especially against a guy who moves a lot.
8 years ago, we could pretty much say with conviction that, China didn't have much of an amateur boxing team. That has changed very quickly, and every guy that we have seen so far has some tremendous skills. Who did they learn from, Dave? Did they watch the Russians?
Yes, you look in the corners of some of the boxers from the Chinese team, and you'll see Russian coaches. That is one major thing that's happened, and along with probably a sentiment sweeping the country. Let's improve the team. We're hosting the Olympics. Sometimes just an event also can trigger the idea of let's get our team up there, and they're doing that. But what's funny about it, a lot of people here have been surprised they're seeing it for the first time, and it's always a pleasant addition to the scene when a country that has not had the reputation of being strong at something suddenly shows itself to be a player.
Yang Li, 25 years old, won a gold medal at the King's Cup held in China and beat highly ranked Bahodirjan Sultanov of Uzbekistan, who we saw fight earlier. One of 5 Chinese boxers to reach the semifinals here at the World Championships. And he has a 4-1 lead here in the waiting moments of round number 1.
Tell you what, I've seen a lot of in the Chinese boxers. A little bit of a change from the straight classical stand-up into a little bit of bending at the waist, which we see here, which provides a little bit of power. And the other thing, as you'll take a look at the road to getting here, is some of the street smarts you see in boxers from other countries. They have found that too, some of the intangibles.
Lomachenko scored big against Reyes in his semi-final fight, quarterfinal fight, I should say, when the judges invoked the 20-point rule, having scored 20 more points before in 3 rounds. As we look at the 5 judges from the Philippines, Mongolia, Poland, Ireland, and Tunisia. Yang Li from China in blue versus Vasyl Lomachenko from Ukraine in red. Li with the 4-1 lead as we begin round number 2 here at the World Boxing Championships.
Well, now for Lomachenko, a strategy change is in order. Jab and move to begin with. Don't want to be caught up on the inside in a tie-up fest. He's already down 4 points, and Yang Li can muscle him a little bit. So you don't want to be where Yang Li can muscle you. You want to be on the outside, picking your shots.
Where that wild left hand by Li landed and the score, the judges saw it. He now has a 6-2 lead over Lomachenko. Lomachenko with a little longer reach.
And he's not using that longer reach, which is why he's losing 7-2. Talk about getting outside, jabbing, moving. When you let the other guy inside, you're giving away your best asset.
He's doing a nice job of cutting off the ring, but he's not getting that left hand out enough to score points. He trails 8-2.
Now, Lomachenko knows that he should be jabbing, moving, firing the punches. But on this stage, guys can get a little jumpy, rush after guys. He is sprinting after Yang Li now, and he's doing it with his hands down because he is in such a hurry to get where Yang Li is, and he's walking into stuff.
Which makes his strategy counterproductive. Yang Li with an 8-2 lead. 40 seconds remaining here in round number 2. Featherweight matchup, 57 kilograms. Left hand by Li landed, 9-2.
Lomachenko may have to start doubling his jab to try and use the second jab to distract Yang Li. Yang Li gives him 2 problems. He's fast and he's also stronger.
(9-3) Li here in the waiting moments of round number 2. And a right hand connects for Yang Li. And to the untrained eye, it looked like Lomachenko was initiating all the action, but it was Li who was doing all the scoring.
There's aggression, and there is effective aggression. And the effective aggression here, the reward goes to Yang Li. If you charge a guy, you might be backing him up, but you can't go at him with your hands down.
Talk about the 8 previous days here and the fact that these young men have had to fight 3 consecutive days. There's the road to the semifinals for Yang Li.
And he still hasn't been in a close bout. Good for him.
Crucial round coming up for the Ukrainian Vasyl Lomachenko. And he senses it. You get the feeling from our vantage point.
He has to stalk, swarm, and then he has to get accurate. And right now, Lomachenko, even though he's the taller boxer, wishes the ring was half this size. Now we have a 2-point penalty, and he just got the advantage of that for the holding and hitting. So that's one way to make up some points.
And since the computer cannot subtract, it adds 2 points to the score. So Yang Li now with a 10-5 lead over Vasyl Lomachenko.
That's one of the crazy ironies of computer scoring. One of the most advanced mechanisms in the history of our culture, and cannot
subtract.
Nonetheless, Lomachenko glad to have those points. And there's a case of Lomachenko doing what Yang Li wants rather than what he needs to do. He's wrestling. He needs to jab and then find an angle and score.
Yang Li getting a little wild. Lomachenko, meanwhile, scored with a right hand and has cut the lead to 4.
Will they cut it more? Will they assess 2 more points? They will. That is huge. That's 4 points worth of penalties in 1 round. That's the first time we've seen this.
And the Chinese contingent to her left, they're up on their feet with giving cat calls to the referee.
Well, they have to be wondering why the referee chose this time for 4 points of penalties in the one round. And the problem for Li is that he's making it look like he's the one initiating this.
Well, guess what? It looks like, let's see.
No points.
A standing 8 count.
They gave him the point for the punch, so the standing 8 count is just a decoration at this point. But for Lomachenko, he's all the way back.
Big left hand for Lomachenko. Referees first and foremost must protect the fighters. And now the Ukrainian Lomachenko has taken a 12-10 lead. He has taken over this fight here in the 3rd round. Courtesy of 4 penalty points.
Well, this is one time, when you look at factors, the referee plays a major role in this bout. Not just that 4 points were taken, but it's when they were taken. Lomachenko's down 10-3 when the first infraction is called. He is nowhere near turning this bout around when the referee comes in and awards the 2. And then the second 2-point infraction turned it to 10-8. So he got 1 point, but with the aid of 2 referees' calls, Lomachenko went from 10-3 to 10-8, and then his heart came into this fight.
And then in that last exchange, he scored 2 legitimate punches to take the 12-10 lead. So 4th and final round coming up. On the line, a spot in the finals and a chance to win the gold medal here at the AIBA World Boxing Championships. In what has been the best bout so far.
Now we'll see if there are any adjustments made. For Yang Li, you have to fight differently because you lost 4 points and the entire flow of this contest by being called for roughing up.
And being a shorter boxer, Li slipping to the ground there. He's got to figure out a way to get inside, and not just get inside, but able to score.
Another element of the inexperience for Li is once a penalty is assessed, you need to regroup. He was assessed for the same thing twice within 45 seconds of each other. If you could have taken a step back after the first one and tried to change the tenor of the bout back, if you're Li, you'd still be in front, but he's trailing.
Yeah, and it's great that Li is throwing all those punches, but he's too far away from Lomachenko. And none of them landing. 13-3, Vasyl Lomachenko. 13-11 now. Lomachenko looking to his corner for a second for some guidance. Li just scored a right hand. It's 13-12. A wild right hand again by Li. That one missed.
You have to give Li a lot of credit for hanging in here now and tying it up. The wheels were coming off for him in this bout, and when the wheels come off, usually you lose, but he was able to put the wheels back on.
25 years old, from the People's Republic of China, Yang Li has tied it at 13. The final 30 seconds of this 4-round bout will decide who goes on to the finals.
Now you don't want to be caught by a late shot. You hope that if there's a punch that gives one boxer the lead, it's a clear shot. This is like playing for overtime. If you think you've won, try to make it go to the raw score.
We're going to have to explain that in just a few seconds here, because it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. 13-13 after 4 rounds, and we're going to go to the raw score.
Raw score is the backup scoring data. Remember, you throw the punches, and all 5 judges are tabulating what you throw. 3 of the 5 must come in within a second to score a point, but even when you don't score a point, your punches still have value, and they have value right now, because right now it's total punches landed regardless of when you scored the punches and how many points you got. This is total volume. Usually in the 40 to 50 range is what this is going to be. And Yang Li seemed like he was throwing a lot more early. But will that matter now? It will not, because Lomachenko came on in that third round and scored a lot.
A winner on points, a raw score. Points by the judges. Vasyl Lomachenko from Ukraine is moving on to the finals here at the AIBA 2007 World Boxing Championships.